I can't do it. Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Ask Mathis. I'm your host, Reginald Mathis, and rocking with me is my brother, wild man Teddy T, a.k.a. Baron Theo Mound-builder.
Hey, what's going down?
Man, not enough threes for Boston. You live by the three, you die by the three. Mm-hmm. Now, who would have ever thought that the Bostons, well, other than Knicks fans, can I at least put that out there? Because the Knicks fans think they winning the championship every year. They think they haven't won since the 70s. Walt Frazier and Clyde Glide and all those guys. So, every dog has his day. So shout out to Andell and all the Knicks lovers out there. Spike Lee, y'all been waiting a long time to have a squad, and it's good for the sports to have a good team in New York, to have a good team in LA. It's good for the league. I think the NBA, man, each one of the games is exciting, even when they blowouts. Even the game where the team was up 50, it was still
came back a little bit.
It was still like exciting because they was like they didn't want to go home. So shout out to the NBA that's doing that thing. Now, this lottery last night. Tell me this. Tell me. Now, the last time I recall, somebody getting the number one pick after, that don't deserve it, San Antonio, when David Robinson was hurt.
Right.
They end up getting Tim Duncan. So you end up with Tim Duncan and David Robinson. Now, here we go. Lucic goes to the Lakers. Everybody's mad. And guess what happens? They got a 1.8% chance to get the number one pick. And they got the number one pick. They got the number one pick, the Dallas Mavericks. So you're going to have Kyrie Irving, AD, and now are they going to get the guy from Duke, or are they going to trade it and get Giannis?
See what I'm saying? It's wide open.
Like, what would you do?
I would
go ahead and get Giannis, try to win now?
Just get it and run out.
Because Irving, you can't count on him being there much longer. He one of those guys that kind of like Jimmy Butler. He overstays his welcome. He's.
I think they tanked. They set him down. They tanked out so they could drop down there, and then the lottery is just the balls. I mean, you can't. I don't think.
Oh, so you okay? So you believe in that it was above board. That's your thoughts.
Well, yeah, because I mean, when I don't know, when they just automatically said that he was hurt, I was like, wow. And then they lost. They was up there. They was like third, and they went all the way down. And then they brought back Davis. They made it to the and then they lost. So they was like, you know what I mean? So they're like, oh, well, we tried. You know what I'm saying? We tried. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then they put him in the lottery.
Oh, man.
And okay. It's the ball. So they definitely take by keeping, because even with Kyrie, they could have made it just as far as everybody else is. You know what I'm saying? Balling, So by dropping him out, that put him in that. Because there's a lot of dope teams that really ain't bad. They just 1-2 players away.
Bro, the Hawks was up in there.
All of them.
Like, I'm looking at the Hawks being in there, Utah being in there. So, all right. So I think the NBA is in a good place, in a good space, man. So
I'm starting to think it's rigged.
It is.
Okay,
it's
thank you. It is definitely entertainment.
It's just too common.
Come on.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like Dallas, all they fans, man, they ready to burn up the whole league. Now they like, never mind.
Yeah. It's like, we gonna make this move for y'all.
Right.
And on the back end, we gonna take care of
y'all.
Right,
we gonna make sure y'all we gonna make sure y'all good.
How did the general manager came out and said, We just didn't know that Doncic had that kind of effect on the fans. Then why are you the general manager?
Oh, come on,
Then
man.
why are you the general manager? You're supposed to got fired the minute you said that.
Cha, right.
Like, as soon as you got off, because how you don't know that Doncic is Dallas?
So let's stay in sports, but let's go to another sports. Let's go back to Shador Sanders, and let's talk about Derek Carr retiring in New Orleans. So Derek Carr retires in New Orleans. Why didn't New Orleans not select Shador Sanders?
They didn't really, I don't know. They were saying they didn't really want him to go there to New Orleans.
Who didn't? The family?
They
Dion them?
they didn't really want him to go to New Orleans.
Why not?
I don't know. Everybody, even when you look at the basketball team, the football team, they're all at the same, Zion, Carr, like New Orleans, they're always there, but they never over the hump. They never get.
Well, they won the Super Bowl
How long ago?
in the 2000s. More recent than the Dolphins. We haven't won since 73.
Oh yeah, but
Ain't been there since 83.
Miami's a different story.
They won it.
I don't know. I remember in the beginning, like they didn't, as they was speculating, nobody really wanted him to go to, like Stephen. None of them wanted him to really go to New Orleans. They wanted him Pittsburgh, Cleveland.
Because they was looking at quarterback situations, but I don't know if they knew about Carr, but they was just like they invested a lot in Carr, to bring him. He's a franchise quarterback, to get him from the Raiders and to come there. I don't think anyone expected him to retire. If they had done that, I'm saying New Orleans should have taken Shador.
Maybe that's why he did. Maybe they say once you step down, maybe that's what they're trying to work on now.
You think they're gonna try to trade for him? I mean, because Shador seems to be settling in. His jersey's number one. That'd be crazy to have the number one jersey and then to turn around and go to another team. Nah, I think Shador gonna prove everybody wrong in Cleveland.
Keep that James Brown mystique and keep it going. Keep that
right. He gonna go in there and do that, man. So the president, man, just touched down in Saudi Arabia this morning. He's on his grift tour. Man. Right now, I'm not even mad. I just want him to just keep breaking records. just keep breaking records, man. Bruh, Qatar's like, man, we got a $500 million plane. We want to gift you. Now, the emoluments clause in the Constitution, the law of our land, says that you're not supposed to accept any gifts without approval of Congress. And the regulations behind it is no government employee can take anything valued more than $20. So 500 milli. 500 milli. And he's so gangster with it, man. I told y'all Donald Trump is becoming Ric Flair. He's becoming Ric Flair. When the bad wrestler ends up becoming so popular that everybody just rock with him. So I think right now people are just saying, man, just let the Donald be the Donald. Just let the Donald be the Donald. Just let him go out there. Like he with Saudi Arabia right now. They like, you ain't supposed to be saluting nobody. Like, that's against protocol. The Don makes his own protocol. He does what he wants to do. Okay? And I'm loving it now. I'm loving it.
What I understood with Don, what he understood was that he can exhibit sovereignty because he's the president of the United States.
Yeah, he's showing like it's like when you have a Bugatti, but you ain't never drive it, beyond fourth gear. And that's how Trump looks at the presidency. He's like, man, this is a Bugatti. This thing ain't never been taken out of third. I want to see what's under the tank. I want to see what's under the hood. I'm going to the seventh gear. After third gear, we taking it to the seventh gear. I'm pushing it to the limit,
All the way.
all the way, and let's just see what happens. You know, I'm gonna be blasphemous. I'm gonna put on the Pope garb. You know, I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it all, and I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see what's up. I'm gonna see what's up, and I'm gonna have a fake treaty deal, tariff deal with China, and the stock market shot up. So like that's what that's what he liked. That's what he wanted. You know, as I told y'all in the very very beginning, if this case it's not a domestic violence case, and you saw in their opening statement they owned it. Diddy's defense owned it. It was like, look, like y'all gonna see some disturbing stuff, and we own that. Domestic violence, but that's not what he's here for. Like he's here for sex trafficking. Like he had a organized scheme to go and do. I mean, this guy's running billion-dollar businesses. And this is what he's doing in his spare time. On his spare time. So it's like, man, y'all can make anything, up to that level. Make it look like this, make it look like that. So I think the defense is going to probably bring out times that she had millions of dollars, whether in her account or in cash, that she was going around. You had plenty of opportunities to clear it, and you're pregnant in the trial with your now husband, formerly trainer's child, and who set you up with that trainer? Diddy. So Diddy set you up with the trainer, and you left. And when you left, did he go after you? Did he try to destroy you? Did he try to destroy him? No. Let it be what it was. So I think those are the type of things that the defense is going to, try to counter the government's claim. And I think they got a shot. Let
somebody come in there with some, because one thing on the other side, when Cassie finishes, there's going to be elements that's going to come at her character of the fact that she was getting paid, and she was doing things. And it wasn't forced, because it was too many times to be forced if you done it multiple times. You know what I'm saying? So those type of things are going to start to come out as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be, it's not going to be as straightforward as the people think. Just saying like, boom, because he beat her and he did all that stuff that he automatically going to lose. I don't think so, because
and they can't prove that he made anybody have sex with anybody. How can they prove that?
Right, he was over there directing, and he was over there doing whatever. And supposedly the testimony yesterday from the hotel officer, in that video, was that he jacked Diddy up. That he jacked him up against the wall, basically like going off on him or whatever. And that say Diddy offered him $100,000 cash to get rid of the video. So we'll see, man. But it's definitely one of those things, man, where I hate to sound like Dr. Umar, but it seems like every black rich person who starts doing things contrary to the plan get taken down. Bill Cosby, taken down. Quincy Jones is now dead, but look what they trying to come out and say, about him. Sexual harassment. R. Kelly, James Brown, who you mentioned, and of course Tory Lanez, man. Tory Lanez just took 14 stabs, 5 to the head. Damn. 5 to the head, bro. So he was airlifted, out. Now, I just saw a picture last week that was disturbing, and that was Tory Lanez, like in the middle, like some tough guys. Bruh, if I ever go to jail or prison, I'm not going to be the tough guy. You know what I mean? If I'm not gonna be the tough guy. I'm not gonna be.
You're gonna be in the programs.
I'm not gonna be the tough guy, bro. I'm gonna have on my Clark Kent glasses, bro. I'm gonna have a cane. I'm gonna have a walker, bro. I'm gonna have my butt sewed. I'm gonna have a diaper on the outside. I'm gonna have a diaper on the outside. You know what I mean? Like, bro, leave me alone. Last thing I'm gonna be in there doing is like I'm the tough guy. Tory Lanez is what, 5'2"? Like Prince size. So you gonna be up in a California prison. You in a California prison and you from Canada, and you up in there. You the tough guy? Come on, bruh. I saw that picture. I don't know if you can find that picture, but bruh, last week is Tory Lanez in the middle of like 5-6 inmates taking a celly picture, and he in the middle. His arms folded like I've been working out. Like I think that's what he was saying. Like, man, I've been working out. Showing his workout picture. Yeah, that's it right there. Showing his workout picture. And what's the date on that, bruh? What's the date on that post? Like, or 4 days ago. See what I'm saying? 4 days ago. 4 days ago. It is not a coincidence.
It's all good just a week ago.
It ain't no, bruh. It's not a coincidence, bruh. It's not a coincidence. You tough 4 days ago. You showing you got your tight shirt on. You know what I mean? You showing like, man, I got this doing a 10-year bid. And now he's sitting in there like, what happened? What you think happened? Man. So, but prayers for Tory Lanez, man. You don't want to see that happen to him. And then here's your boy, Al B. Sure. Al B. Sure, bruh. He about to get sued. He about to get sued for defamation. Because, he's basically going around, blaming Diddy for, his a coma. That he was like, he had organ failure. All that stuff. I mean, I would be bitter too if my son, call another dude daddy and I'm alive. Like, I'm alive and yo, dog. And then his son, grown man, y'all know his son who's Quincy, who's the is an actor and doing these things and he's, doing well, is giving interviews and basically saying, LB, that's my homie. That's not my daddy. That's my homie. You know what I mean? Because the father thing is past. Like Diddy's my dad. Like I'm open. You ain't do nothing wrong, bad for me or whatever. But ain't no parenting going on, bro. Like we could talk. We look alike. And he's like you said, bro. He's bitter. He's bitter, man. So. He got a tell-all book, and he's out there doing this thing. Now, here's the crazy thing. Mayor Ras Baraka. Now, does Baraka sound familiar to you at all?
Obama.
No, bro. His dad was the great poet. His dad's the great poet.
From the great poets.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
The great poet Baraka, man, who was all about that, talking about, it has to be black liberation.
New Jersey, they was
yes, that's his dad.
That's dope.
That's his dad, bruh. So how about you go? You the mayor, bruh. You the mayor of Newark. They got the facility in Newark. The sitting people, the elected officials say, hey, we want to go and view this prison. Can you do it? Like, yeah, no problem. Y'all call, y'all set it up, and then when y'all get there, y'all told y'all trespassing. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy, man. But y'all check it out, man.
Be messing with ICE. That's Trump people right there. Boy.
Yeah, well, they letting you know. Like, bro, don't bring that around here, man. Like, don't come here with all that. Don't come here like I know. Put in handcuffs after verbal altercation at Delaney Hall. And there you go. And they just like getting them off the premises. You know, like, yo, bro, like, go ahead, let's take you to the side. Now, don't come back, okay? Get on there. You see, you know, he ain't missed no meals that day. But yeah, that's his dad, man, is the famous poet, man. So, you know, he come from that. Just like Fannie Willis, the DA in Atlanta. You know, her dad was a Black Panther. So, you know, we're looking at the generation, man, because we really lost as a people. We're lost as a people because, you know, Teddy, I say you and I probably the first generation that went through full integration. You know, even my older siblings, you know, started in segregated schools.
I definitely did.
You know, but, you know, by the time, you know, we came along, you know, all my schools were integrated, fully integrated, elementary, middle, and high school.
Up north, you know, slavery wasn't, but they would only have one black kid in the class. In second grade, me and my partner Kelsey was in class together. The teacher walked in and she walked right out, and we got the principal and they took Kelsey out the class.
Wow. And then here you go. This is another thing with ICE. So the more of these images that get displayed, you know, what's going on in ICE, where they came to a residence in Massachusetts, in Worcester, Massachusetts, and, you know, they arrest this lady, this mom, in front of her newborn baby and 16-year-old daughter, and then the neighbors is coming out, you know, trying to stop it. But, you know, are these the images that they want out there? You know, I think so.
Yep.
I think these are the images because guess what Trump gets the highest marks on? Immigration. Like, even right now, the highest marks on immigration. This is exactly what, and that's what I want to see. I'm just being, I'm just being 1,000.
Viva la Trump.
I just vote for Donald Trump. Vote for Donald Trump. This is what I wanted to see. I did want to see. Like, this is the one thing I did want to see, and you know, and then just look at your boy Biden, man. So Biden is making the rounds. So Biden goes on The View, bruh. He goes on The View and they ask him questions, and Biden blames, you know, the loss on sexism and a little bit of racism, right? Sexism and a little bit of racism. Now, what does that mean? Sexism and a little bit of racism. Because it was like, don't you think if you had gotten out of the race sooner, that, you know, it was like, no, I don't think so. I don't think the results would have been different. I don't think it would have been changed, you know, because of sexism and the, you know, a little bit of the racism is going on or whatever, but I believe it. And then there's a book that's coming out. I think it's coming out this week on the Biden presidency, bruh. They were saying that if he had won, he's gonna be in a wheelchair. So he was gonna be in a wheelchair.
It was all the things that they had to hide. It's a whole backstory to him being the president and what they had to do.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You can't do that anymore. The last time you were able to do that was Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who died in office, who won 4 times, and then, you know, so you would think somebody who won 4 elections in a row, they was like, hey, that's a good thing. But what happened? They changed the amended the Constitution. Like, no, man, we don't need somebody to just come in, because I guess they're just saying the power of the presidency. If you're in that long, then there's certain buttons you can push and certain levels you can pull, you know, of an incumbency that's just going. You got, you know, a lot of things at your level. And again, what is Trump doing? Trump is utilizing the Justice Department in ways that we haven't seen it before. You coming after him, he's like, man, go investigate that guy. You like, what? The president not supposed to say that? Like, he's just like, hey, you know. And then our U.S. Attorney, Pam Bondi, guess who she was working for last? She was a lobbyist for what country? Drumroll, Qatar.
Oh, wow. Makes sense.
Bruh, you know what I'm saying? We just sit here witnessing the grift, and it's a thing of beauty. It's it's a thing of beauty, bro.
He said that the plane ain't gonna be his. It's gonna belong to the
It's gonna be a Department of Defense, and he was like, you know what you say when somebody offers you a $500 million plane? You say thank you. You say thank you. You say thank you. And you say thank you. That's what you say.
That ain't the real.
Hey.
What it is right there.
Yeah.
Don't get no better than that.
Because the last time when he was first in office, you know, because of course anything that Obama was in before, it was like, man, we got to refurbish this whole thing. Let's raggedy. We got to do that. And it was telling them like, bro, how much. You know what? Do you know that Air Force One has like a totally intact operating room, bro?
Yeah.
Like to have the whole surgery, you got it up in there.
They gotta be ready for anything.
You know, so you're talking, even though this plane is 500 million, you basically got to strip it all the way down to make sure that it has all the stuff that Air Force One has to have, and you got to make sure that there's no surveillance and spyware and all that, bro. So Qatar, who harbors Hamas, is the one that's gifting the plane, bro. It's like, wow, this is nuts. And now you in Saudi Arabia, and in Saudi Arabia, they talking about investing a little under $1 trillion over a 10-year period into the U.S., bro. Their GDP is $1 trillion a year. So they basically saying we're gonna put a whole year, all our money, a whole year, we're gonna invest it into America. Do you think the Saudis gonna get nothing? You think they're gonna get nothing for that? Like, does anybody think they're gonna get nothing?
They're buying in, and they're gonna start sharing it with our culture. It's gonna be like this is over here now, that's over there now. You gotta go. You guys gotta be over
Man,
here.
this is one of those things, man.
Like Mathis, they're gonna need you over here now. Like, wait a minute, I'm not gonna wait.
Now let's hear what Dr. Umar has to say, man. You know, we've been following this story about Carmelo Anthony, you know, the youth out of Texas, man, that's being held and charged for murder against white boy at the game, you know, where he's sitting under the tent, and then the twin comes in and was like, you gotta go, and it was like, nah, you gotta, right to be there. They invited him to be there, whatever, and the guy, like, he's threatening to punch him. He said, punch me or hit me and see what happens. So he effed around and found out, and he stabbed him. So of course the media first painted him as thugged out, broken home, the narrative that they typically put. But as you hear from Dr. Umar, that's not the case. He comes from a 2-parent household. They live in an affluent area, never arrested before, never in trouble, good student. I think he's a 3.7 GPA, all that stuff. So let's see what Dr. Umar has to say.
How you feel about that?
Carmelo Anthony. Art, if you go back and take a look at the slave codes in all of the original 13 colonies, and if you look at the slave codes in any of the slave states of America, you will find that black men or women never had a right to defend themselves against a white assailant. You could not fight back against your slave master, nor could you fight back against any white person for any reason. If they whipped you, you couldn't fight back. If they hit you, you couldn't fight back. If they steal from you, you couldn't fight back. If they tried to sell your child away illegally, you couldn't fight back. So we need to understand something. White America has always felt, Art, that they have absolute jurisdiction over the black body. This goes back to slavery when they owned us. They owned us. Old habits die hard. And since you have a legacy in this country, a custom and a culture where black people don't even have the right to protect their own body, you get this situation that we are dealing with now with our 17-year-old brother down in Frisco, Texas, Carmelo Anthony. Now, first, white folks, when they heard about this situation, they automatically tried to paint him like a criminal, but that didn't work, Art, because he's a 3.73 GPA student. He's the captain of at least 2 sports teams. He has no prior criminal history. And then they said, well, he's just another little ghetto boy. That didn't work, Art. He comes from a 2-parent home where they work and they live in an affluent suburban part of Frisco, Texas. So the ghetto narrative that the media likes to paint on black men accused of physical violence did not work with Carmelo.
Gotta ask you about this Carmelo.
So, any comments?
I agree with him.
Yeah, definitely.
So what does that mean? By agreeing with him, does that mean love it or leave it, understand it,
I
and
mean, that's the thing that people got to become more in the process of changing these laws, standing up for these laws. Like Godfather of Harlem is back on, and Malcolm's gone now, and his daughter now joined the Black Panthers, and just to being able to have people that go and say we're gonna go here, and regardless of what happened, we're gonna stand and we're gonna be here and we're gonna fight. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what. Eventually, Farrakhan said that the other week. It's like y'all gonna go and try to send these officers in here, and what's gonna happen is they ain't gonna come back, because and it's like eventually there's got to be some type of stance, like.
all right. So switching it a little bit, looking at this story right here, Teddy T, and that is of Warriors guard Pat Spencer. Now, something that Pat Spencer is doing that I actually like, and that is, $438,810 is good money if you can make it. Now, what player in the G League or the NBA or even college with an NIL contract for $438,810 would be driving a whip from 2012? Anybody? So Pat Spencer, who's
It reminds me of Ocho Cinco. Chad.
well, see, there you go. Ocho Cinco would, and he'd be making a whole lot more than the 438,810. But that's what I'm saying. Somebody, I think Ocho Cinco is doing it to just prove a point. Not that he ain't got the bread. Like 438,810. This guy's like, showing brothers in real time. $438,810, which is, a great salary for a lawyer, for a doctor, for, most people that's not celebrities or professional. That's a great time. But he's saying, hey, having a Honda that's paid for, that's how you do it. Like, that's how you're supposed to do it. Right? But the guy, to his credit, man, he was cut. He said he was cut from every team, from lacrosse, from the JV team, JV basketball team. So I definitely, I'm a fan now. I'm a fan now just because of that. Now, the Pope, as you know, did you know that the Pope is black? Did we know that? The new Pope has Haitian and black roots traced to New Orleans. Now, the crazy thing is when his family moved to Illinois in 1920, they saw an opportunity. And now, Teddy, you know a lot about Illinois, but they saw the opportunity to pass. And that's what they did. Like, just straight up. Like, they have birth records. His grandfather is from Haiti. And his mom was listed as mulatto. But something happened in the 1920s when they came over. They decided, man, do you want to have to live over there? Or do you want to try to make it over here? And, that's a underreported story of how many people who passed that were just passing, especially in the Louisiana era. In that area, man, like just straight up pass. So now let's see whether or not the Pope embraces, his multiculturalism.
That's what we were saying, because as indigenous people, we want them to, he needs to revoke the papal bull, which is in federal law, the discovery doctrine. And just like they did the abortion, we want to be able to do that to the discovery doctrine, because the discovery doctrine ended up in the case of McIntosh versus Johnson. And it became a federal law, and that's what made the Trail of Tears happen. So we need to get him to revoke the papal bull and then get a reversal on McIntosh versus Johnson under the discovery doctrine.
So, Step, can we see his lineage? Let's look at his heritage. So,
the first
don't just
pope
take my
born in
word
America
for it.
has black and Haitian roots tracing back to New Orleans. Genealogists discovered his great-grandparents were listed as free people of color in Louisiana, with Haitian ancestry on his mother's side. Like many families of the time, his relatives migrated and changed their racial identifiers to pass as white, often out of economic survival. Now, his rise to the papacy marks a profound moment in both Catholic and black history. Representation reaches the Vatican. Read more at blackenterprise.com. Pope,
Like, that's right after the independence. Like over 10,000 Haitians went to New Orleans. They went to Cuba first. They got kicked out of Cuba, and they went to New Orleans, and there was Creole. That's the majority of the Creole people that was mixing in. It was from Haiti.
Yo, right here, man. This
Crazy.
So again, man, when you talk about this little NIL bread, folks are talking about these SRTs that the young people love. These SRTs, man. So it's up to three people dead now. Let's see, how long before? Yep. How long before you talking about a 10-year-old, 4-year-old, 58-year-old? Near Largo. How long, man, before he goes into custody?
The kid's too young for that type of power.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of power, man, being out. You 20 years old, man, so you dealing with your life and the lives of other people, man. It's a terrible, terrible thing that, that he got to deal with, man. So, University of Miami football player involved in a deadly crash. So, we shall see. We shall see. We shall see. We shall see. Oh, yeah, man. Check this out. An 80-year-old brother, man. 80-year-old man graduates from South Carolina State, man. He don't look like he can do nothing. Like the way he in there, like, but I guess he looks sleep or like he does not look like he in no great condition to be studying. I don't know if he emotional or what, bro. Well, he threw his little salute up, but kind of looking like Joe Biden a little bit. Kind of acting like Joe Biden, or is it just, he gumming? I don't know if those are new teeth or don't have his teeth in. But shout out to the brother, because y'all know, here's the story. 60 South Africans just came to the country via private jet supplied by the United States of America to free persecution in South Africa. And when questioned about it, the Don, that's our new name for him. The Don says, hey man, they're out there killing these farmers, and they're out there, doing their persecuting them, and they just happen to be white. They just happen to be white is what he said. Like, I don't care if they were black or white. They just happen to be white. So they got genocide going on in Rwanda. They got genocide going on in parts of the Congo. But you decide to go in and airlift these folks. And here's the response from the president of South Africa.
In South Africa, we're the only country on the continent where the colonizers came to stay, and we have never driven them out of our country. So they are staying, and they're making great progress. It's a fringe grouping that does not have a lot of support, that is anti-transformation and anti-change, that would actually prefer to see South Africa going back to apartheid type of policies. And I said to him, I would never do that. I learned at the feet of Nelson Mandela, and we intend to proceed with the implementation of our constitutional architecture. And I thought in my conversation with him early in the morning at 4 o'clock South African time, he understood that. And I said, out of the diverse groupings that we have, to come and meet him so that we can discuss this matter further. So those people who have fled are not being persecuted. They are not being, hounded. They are not being treated badly. And they are leaving ostensibly because they don't want to embrace the changes that are taking place in our country in accordance with our constitution. So we think that the American government has got the wrong end of the stick here, but we'll continue talking to them.
There they go. Here's the 60 folks. Here are the folks that's fleeing persecution.
They African Americans now? Yep.
Yeah, exactly. You see, they got their MAGA wear. They got their MAGA wear. They coming, their American stuff. Now they're gonna be in for a surprise, depending on, where they go, where they end up. But it's so, the hypocrisy is just so.
Yeah, that's true.
It just kind of it's not even good to fret. You just point it out and be like, check it out. Just check it out, man. This is the world we live in, man. But shout out to that president, man, the president of South Africa. I would love for him, to take an IQ test with Trump, with the Don, to sit there, because they understand. And it's like we having this conversation with, with him. Would he even understand what he said? Would he even come out and repeat that? Would he even repeat what he said, which is the only African country where the colonizers decided to stay, right? The colonizers decided to stay, right? So you're talking after World War II, having this whole system after, it wasn't World War II about, putting down fascism that was growing in Germany, and fascism from Japan, and fascism from Italy, Mussolini at the time. You go and give the Jews all this territory where the Palestinians are already there, where they've been for, all this time. And then you let South Africa just grow and expand until the artists, bruh. And until, people said, man, stop trading with them. Ain't going to play Sun City. Because they was bringing the top acts down to Sun City, all the time. It was like, no, we're not playing Sun City anymore. And you look at the beginning of the movie School Days, it's about, divesting, because all of our institutions in America, we're investing in South Africa. They was investing in what was going on in South Africa, and folks were like, man, that's wrong, man. Like, you got a minority that's ruling a majority of people. That's crazy.
That's like the guy Ibrahim. His name is Ibrahim. He's in a crazy country in Africa, but he kicked out France. and he put his own gold processing plants. It's free healthcare, free school. The United States was trying to kill him 31 times.
Right.
Like,
Well,
they're all that colonization.
it's the same thing that is not spoken about Gaddafi. You know, remember Gaddafi pledged $1 billion to Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. The United States will not allow that money to come for him to send that money. Libya, folks living in Libya have free health care, free education, all these things, you know, all coming from the oil. All coming from the oil. Where is he now? He's dead. And so the brother you talking about, General Ibrahim, the brothers out there, man, and he's just pointing it out. Like, Africa can be self-sufficient, but the world will not allow it to be. Like, isn't that crazy? They will not allow it. They will not. You have all the resources, but it's like they'll come in and take all your rubber. They'll take all your rubber trees or whatever, get all the rubber or whatever, make tires, and come back and sell the tires to you. Take all your wheat, process it and make cereal, and come back and sell that to you. And when you tell them you don't want it, they say, no, you gotta take it. You gotta take it. You know, and it's like, you know, folks think I'm tripping, but I'm saying, like, the only way that is, you gotta look at the movie, and I'm not gonna say it publicly because I ain't that silly. But I would say look at the movie Black Panther, you know, and to a large extent, and I'm talking about the second one. What happened? You know, the folks is like, no, we cannot trust an African nation to have this type of weapon. We need that. And the folks is like, nah, man, we've been handling it that we can't let y'all have it. And then they coming in there to forcefully take it. They coming in and forcefully take it because in order for capitalism to strive and continue, it's always been, it requires slave labor, you know. And when we say slave labor, it doesn't mean chains. Slave labor means, you know, it was nothing that's free, but you know what I'm saying, because you got to feed them, you got to clothe them, you got to shelter. So there are always costs associated with it. So even though you may be paying somebody pittance, you know, like sharecropping, they was getting paid, but at the end of every week when it was time to get paid, you done been to the store, because they got these corporate stores where you get all your stuff on credit. So by the end of the week, you know what I'm saying, you get paid $10 a week, but it's $12 for your little rent, for your little piece of land, for the, you know, for all your goods and all the food and all the stuff you're gonna have. So you owe $2 after working a week.
You ever watch the Gilded
Age, the Gilded Age? Yeah, I love that.
But there was a lot more black families
in Philadelphia in particular.
You know, that they don't talk about, you know?
Yeah, there's a great book by W.E.B. Du Bois called The Philadelphia Negro. You know, like there's nothing that's new under the sun. Like, it's not spoken about. Folks don't know about it. It's in books. People don't read books, or people don't bring it to their attention. And so whatever they feel, whatever vibe, you know, that's why one of my favorite songs is Ball Greasy, Ignorant. Shh. Is like, oh, you gonna take it to tribe and go with your vibe? Fight in probation.
I say that's why I really, when you are watching Godfather of Harlem, Bumpy Johnson, like now he doesn't sell Ducci in the hood. You know what I'm saying? And he's revitalizing Harlem. And Frank Lucas came in now. You know what I'm saying? And when you just see all of these entities and characters and how they had to, you know, some people either bowed down, they fought, or they got in with Bumpy, and certain people, they fought him. You know, he had to fight against the mob, get the police, because they would control. He had to fight against the mob, and you see a person of that stature doing things over and over and still being able to survive until he didn't, but still it was like. And then Frank Lucas, when you see what he's doing and the person he become, what I mean, it's always that element where there's different people that win the race. I mean, we're all of a color, but everybody's an individual based off of, and that's the separation of everybody. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I wish I agree with you on the facts, but I wish that was the case. I wish that was the case. The only way that could be the case is, let's say, and it's a possibility. You think about it, possibility if you was able to redirect the sun, some of the sun rays, and as far as the spectrum, and make it where we could not see color. Like you got infrared vision, you got ultraviolet vision, and you got certain things like dogs. They say dogs see in black and white. They don't see color. Like, it was a way to change where people did not literally see color. Like, you just, we existed in a different way, but because of the melanin, you cannot escape it.
I mean, that's what's here. That's what everything is, and it's. I just think it's really the elements of how it's been broken down and controlled. Like, they saw how they needed this element to survive, to build, to bring themselves out of what they were into. Like, they
correct.
They were
Bruh, I was talking to somebody the other day. They're the last ones.
Yeah.
I was talking to, I had a very candid conversation with a white female last week, the other day, and it was just straight up. You look at, the Egyptians before them, Kush. You're talking about Nubia. You're talking about civilizations man, that ran what they thought was the world, the known world to them for thousands of years. So 1,000 years, a person won't live to be 100. A person live to be 100, you're like, wow, that's awesome. So you're talking about periods of time where folks is like that beer commercial. It just don't get no better than this. You just thinking that like that's what it is, and Caucasians being the last to emerge. They're being the last to emerge, so they had the benefit of studying from all of that. But at the same time, it's just like if you fighting when you was a shorty, and you was fighting or you was wrestling, and somebody body slammed you or they threw you to the ground. Like, what happens on average? What happens? What happens to the person when they raise up? Right? That's where all the rage is coming when that person is like, boy, you better not let me up, but you let me up, you bringing the rage. So you the last one to emerge after thousands of years, after being confined to caves and all. You've learned, and that's the thing. I give them credit. I give them credit for saying, y'all got the juice right now. Y'all have the juice right now. But if you understand the long game, you say, man, y'all need to stop attacking us. Y'all need to stop trying to bring us down, because we are divinely, we're divine. We're divine in terms of, who we are. Because y'all can't destroy us. Y'all can't destroy us. We're gonna be here, and at the end of the day, when this thing is all over, we're gonna still be here. So now where we are, folks is like, we skip going back to saying that, we started with integration. Like our generation of people, like integrated schools. So by not having that struggle, that some of our older siblings or some of our parents had, we don't know the struggle. So because we don't know the struggle, it's like we out here in the days when folks like Stephen Miller is throwing stuff and we don't even know how to fight it, because it's like, hold on. And Buddy been reading. He's an alchemist. Buddy been reading you know, reading up on all this stuff and understands and knows the history. He probably knows more of our history than we do.
I mean, that's what I said. For me, I've always been into it. Like when you deal with Kemet, when they wasn't letting none of the Greeks in. When they let the Greeks in, they were light skinned. They wasn't white. They were light skinned when they let them in. And then you see what they came back and did with Alexandria. They sacked the library.
Of course,
And then you got the Moors who did the same thing with the Iberian Peninsula. They came over there and taught them how to dress, cook, everything. And then what they do, they enslaved them.
that's understanding history, man. But before we get up out of here, how much time we got stuff? We got to have a little dirt. Okay, well, so we got a little time. So,
Yes.
Cardi B is looking alright. Can we say Cardi B is looking alright a little bit? No, she looking alright.
BBL's a little too out.
No. See, Teddy, me and you sharing her brain today. We sharing the brain today because if you hit it, and if you see him walking away from the back, that looks a little weird.
Yeah, that's terrible.
That looks a little weird.
It's like her and the other girl, the girl that
I don't like BBLs, man.
The girl that Zion Williams is with, she's a male.
I've seen her, but if I was to see her, like, I'm not a.
And they feel even more terrible.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. They're hard. They're hard.
Well, you talking about the ones that got that fixer flat,
Yes.
but they, like I cannot wait
That's
until
all
that
of them.
fat
That's
goes.
all of them.
For real.
At the top circle, I mean, you gotta understand, it's putting fat,
Right.
and fat has to
Settle.
get oxygen naturally.
Mm.
Everybody's BBL has to be re-maintenance. It's they have to keep going back.
in. Yeah, the black put it together.
Yeah,
Like,
it's no.
can
one time.
we make like the BBLs? Like, can we just shun them?
You know why you can't? Because the jits,
They with it. They all right with it.
They're paying for it. Like a jit is spending $75,000 for his girl. The butt, the everything. They're paying for the transformation. They're paying for them.
Yeah.
You can't date the other day I was just talking to the girl. The girl asked me for an iPhone just off top. I need a phone. You can buy me an iPhone tomorrow.
That's what it is. Just come in and ask for what you ask what you want. Oh yeah, Bill, this is perfect. This is for Teddy. This is for you, Teddy, because this tells you about the mayor of Newark's dad, Amiri Baraka.
Ras Baraka had a planned visit to an ICE detention center with members of Congress and was shoved and arrested on site. Do y'all know who this man's daddy is?
Black activism and black so-called elective politics, you have to destroy the barrier between them. Can you understand that? That the so-called black politicians must be an absolute extension of black activist nationalist politics. That that Powell or Conyers or Shirley Chisholm, they must be an extension of nationalist activist politics. You can't send anybody to office unless they identify with Africa, unless they identify with national liberation. And black people will vote. No matter how long you tell them, nigga, this ain't gonna free you, they gonna vote. No matter how long you tell them that Jesus ain't gonna help them, they're gonna be there on Sunday talking about Jesus. What you gotta do is get Jesus to say something.
Y'all got the right one today. Amiri Baraka was a revolutionary poet. He believed art should serve the people, not entertain the powerful. He was talking about black liberation, anti-imperialism. It's nation time. Y'all gonna arrest his son because he's in his neighborhood, investigating the constitutional laws that Trump, ICE, and fools in general are breaking? Black people, we can't stay quiet. As long as we have breath in our lungs, we must speak up. We must organize. We must reignite the revolutionary spirit of Amiri Baraka.
Yeah, man. That's his dad.
I never heard about it.
That's his dad, man. He's part of the.
I'm sitting there like, man, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it.